very good evening to all our attendees and the viewers in the other channel. I'm the best mom. We have been conducting sessions with various topics which are definitely going to be benefited for the mother. So motherhood is an enriching journey of undaunted grit. Every day, mom puts their best of effort to nourish and raise the children and the best possible way. But sometimes we also go through the challenges. So today we are going to touch upon a topic which is dear to all of us, sleep. Now, when we are talking about sleep, it's not only when we get tired, but when we required it. And today we are going to learn more about it from Dr. Smita Patil Jo. Dr. Smita is a consultant pediatric neurologist and a developmental pediatrician at Kalyan and Dombivli at the KEM Hospital, Mumbai. Uh, Ma'am has rich experience in dealing with children with both atypical and neurotypical. And I'm sure when we are going to understand more in detail, we'll get to learn a lot of things. I would request all the attendees, if you have any question, please post it on the Q&A section. We will take it up towards the end of the presentation from Dr. Smita. Wishing you all a brilliant show. Please participate, do post your question, and let us understand how much sleep we require and how best we can also coach our children and our peers. Over to you, Dr. Smita.
Thank you very much. That was a very nice introduction about the topic. Today we are going to discuss about the sleep issues in children. Not exactly issues, but what is a normal sleep pattern and what all things can go wrong in your child's sleep. You all must be familiar with the story of the Sleeping Beauty. The beauty is sent to sleep for 100,000 years by the fairy, and then when she's awakened from the sleep after so many years, she's not aged a bit. So that's the importance of the sleep, right? So so we all see that in toddlers, that is preschool children, as well as the children who just start to walk, 1 to 3 years of age, these are called as toddlers. The sleep issues are very common. They have insomnia. What is insomnia? It is difficulty to fall asleep and difficulty to maintain sound sleep during the night. Night walking, bedwetting, bedtime fears, night terrors, things like that. Or other things could be, they may have other sleep issues also. And these sleep issues are associated with many daytime behavioral complaints. And with some patience and all, we can overcome these issues in our child. So as I said, in other neuroatypical children also, sleep issues are quite frequent cause of comorbidity. In children with autism, 60 to 80% children will have sleep issues when we compare it with the neurotypical children. And they will have bedtime refusals, they will have difficulty to fall asleep, frequent night awakenings. They can also have nocturnal enuresis, that is bedwetting. So how much sleep our children need? Usually the age group of 4 months to 12 months, that is infants, they require 12 to 16 hours of sleep. This includes their daytime naps. Toddlers, that is 1 to 3 years of age, will require around 10 to 14 hours of sleep. Children, as they grow older, the sleep requirement is less. But the quality of sleep is also equally important as against the number of hours of sleep. Preschool children 3 to 5 years will need 10 to 13 hours, and similarly 6 to 12 years age group will require around 9 to 12 hours. But here again, the number of sleep hours vary between each child. Some child may feel fresh even after 9 hours of sleep, but some may require more than 12 hours of sleep. That is very much individualized. You can't compare it with the other child, some other child, that this child sleeps for so many hours and my child sleeps for so many hours. So what are the signs that your child is not getting adequate sleep? He is usually cranky during day, irritable, over emotional. He has trouble to concentrate at school or at home. Sometimes you may catch him during doing daydreaming. You have difficulty to awaken him from sleep in the morning. And when he is doing some monotonous activity like reading or watching TV, you might catch him getting drowsy. And he gets so exhausted that he might crash to his bed earlier than his usual routine time. So, what are the causes of insomnia? So, as I said, it is the stress. So, you will say, what kind of stress children have? They do have stress. The reasons are different as compared to adults. The reasons could be separation from parents during sleep time, or arrival of new baby at home, school bullying. You might There might be some consumption of carbonated drinks which contain caffeine. You will be surprised that the effect of these kinds of drink may last for 6 to 8 hours even after they are taken in the afternoon time, but they may make the child remain awakened for quite a long time. uh, Improper sleep habits. What is improper sleep habits? Usually, our body has a natural circadian rhythm. When there is evening or when the sun has set, the natural light is down. So our brain secretes a hormone called as melatonin, which makes the person go to sleep. But when we use bright lights at home, when there is noise at home or too much sounds at home, or the child is having too much physical activity near his sleep time, such kinds of things can prevent his normal sleep rhythm. And this will become a habit, and then gradually this will go on for, if this goes on for a long time, then the child will keep on having difficulties falling asleep. There could be other medical issues like sleep apnea. Also, what is sleep apnea? Usually is seen in obese kind of children. So the soft tissues of their neck will cause obstruction in their airway, and the child will get up during night. Restless leg syndrome. So this is an involuntary event. The child will keep on moving his legs in the bed, and this might be so vigorous that the action itself may awaken the child, or he might hit someone who is sleeping nearby. Growing pains is usually seen in toddlers or preschool children. The child will tell you to massage his legs or press upon his legs. And other gastrointestinal issues, like you feed the child too much near his sleeping time, or bloating because of the food he's taking, things like this, or reflux disease. These kinds of things may prevent sound sleep. So, why it is important to take care of these issues? So, in a long term, these issues, as I said, will cause a lot of behavioral things, like it may cause hyperactivity in the child. It will reduce their attention issues if the sleep is not proper at night. It alters their mood. They become irritable. They might have memory problems, remembering things. They can have other cardiovascular problems, immune system dysfunction, and which will make them prone to repeated infections, certain endocrine issues. So these there are some studies which have proven that poor sleep quality was associated with daytime behavioral issues, like the child may get aggressive, he may cause self-injury, throw tantrums, and can have destructive behavior. And even in neuroatypical children, they are associated with pronounced symptoms of autism, like worsening of their social skills or communication skills, and increased incidence of hypersensitivity to environment or stereotypies. So, what is an ideal bedtime? So, ideally, when should your child go to bed? So, it is the time when your child starts getting drowsy. So whatever your bedtime routine is there, so you should start it at least half hour, 45 minutes prior to that, and then you can send the child to bed. What is a proper sleep hygiene? So use his bedroom only for sleeping, or some relaxing activity like reading book, or reading, you read the book to him, Don't use bed or bedroom for other things like playing or timeout. Otherwise, they will think that bedroom is used for punishment, so it is not a good place. Make the environment comfortable. So look what temperature suits to your child best. It should be quiet. Don't put too many toys on his bed, otherwise the child will get distracted and keep on playing rather than sleeping. Try to keep the same schedule even on weekends. And as I said, don't overfeed them or underfeed them, and don't send them to bed in an hour after they eat their dinner. It should be at least 1.5 hours prior to their bedtime. And during day, encouraging physically active lifestyle will help them to get exhausted, and they will sleep better. Encourage natural light immediately when they get up in the morning. If they are sleeping too much during day, you curb down those naps. Otherwise, the sleep duration at night will be less. And importantly, screen watching should be restricted, as WHO has told. In toddlers, the screen time should not be more than 2 hours. Even in preschool age, the screen time during 24 hours should not be more than 2 hours, which includes your TV watching, laptop, or mobile watching. So, what other things you can try? You can try aromatherapy. You can try using quiet music at their near their bedtime, which will soothe them, which will relax their nerves. You can read to them at their sleep time if they cannot read. These other things can also help them. So, bedtime fears and anxiety. So you have to understand why the child is afraid to go to his bed. So don't try to ridicule him. Find out the reason for his fear, and you have to make them understand that whatever they are afraid of, it is because they are imagining things. It is not real, and it is not harmful to him, and nothing can happen to him because you are there with the child. You can wait till the child is going to sleep. So if the child has any security object, like whatever he likes, some kids like soft toys, or some kids like their blankets or things like that, which they feel secure with, you can let them have those things with them at night. And during day, try to keep them away from scary books or toys or scary shows on the TV or mobile, so that the concept of that particular thing is not stuck up in their heads. So, some children do have nightmares. These are the frightening dreams that occur at night, and they are usually related to the anxiety or stress they are going through during the day. So, you have to know what is the reason for their nightmares, and when the child gets awakened because of the nightmare, he's obviously afraid of his dream. So you have to pat him gently on his back, and don't ask him too much details of the dream, but you focus how to make him go back to sleep again. You can do some relaxing thing, or you can make him drink water or things like that. Just distract him from the dream, and focus that how will he go back to sleep. So, what are night terrors? As against nightmare, nightmares are remembered by the child. Night terrors are the events which are not remembered by the child, but they are too scary for the parents. The child screams out, he shouts, he kicks legs, he is usually found sweating, or he might have palpitations. And as I said, it won't be remembered by the child in the morning. But here again, I would like to tell you things. So we have to be sure that these are not epileptiform events. So ideally take advice from a doctor when such kind of things are happening during night, because certain kind of seizures or epilepsy can also manifest like this, when the child may have confusion and may not remember the thing what exactly happened in the morning. So you can reassure the child, and you can squeeze their hand or you can pat on their back to make sure that the child is safe, he doesn't fall down, he doesn't get injured. And if the time of occurrence is same throughout every night, so you can try to awaken the child sometime prior to that time, so this can prevent the further episode. Again, important issue in many children face this issue, the bedwetting thing. So there are multiple reasons for bedwetting. So one of the common reason I would say is stress. The child is too much exhausted during the day, and or he's ill. Usually, the as the child matures, the bladder capacity also improves as he ages. But sometimes it may take time for his bladder capacity to go to the adult stage. So that can happen. Other things could be there is a loop between your brain and the bladder, which tells you that when it is socially appropriate to pass urine. So sometimes because that loop is not mature for his age, then he might pass out urine during night at bed. He is having too much fluids, drinking too much fluids before going to bed. There could be other medical reasons like constipation. It is one of the very important factor which usually is ignored by the parents, that the child, if he's suffering from constipation, it can cause enuresis. Other medical issues like renal problems, kidney problems, or urinary infection can also contribute to it. So how to deal with bedwetting? So first and foremost, don't tease them or don't ridicule them, and make sure that others are also not ridiculing him. So you can help the child to change his sheets in the morning, and you tell him that it is not a punishment. You are just taking the responsibility of the thing. You can use reward system. That is, you can on those days when he is not wetting the bed, you can give him some reward, and rather than using punishment system. So there are things like alarm system which will awaken the child. The alarm will ring when the bed is wet, and the child will get awakened by the alarm, and then you can prevent the further passage of urine. So you should avoid lots of fluid before sleeping. Don't give caffeine or caffeinated drinks to the child 4 to 6 hours prior to going to sleep. And you can make him go to toilet before sleeping, and you can awaken him in between in the sleep before the stipulated time of bedwetting, if it is the same time every night. These are the simple things. But when should you see a doctor when the child is having bedwetting? Usually, by 4 or 5 years of age, the bedwetting goes away. Night passage of urine goes away. But if it is persistent for 7 years or more, then you should go to see doctor. When there are other danger signs, like if there is a swelling of eyes, swelling over the feet, or the child is having burning sensation while passing urine, if he is having daytime frequent passage of urine or blood stained urine, then you should see the doctor. Probably it is some kind of infection. Uh, and when the child was already bladder drained and he was dry for 6 months, but now again he is having the same issue, then you should find out what is the reason. Sexual abuse could also be important reason when you have to find out if the child is looking emotionally also looking withdrawn, or you find out certain signs in him that something is amiss with the child, then you have to inquire more with the child. So this is it. I'm sure you would have had your doubts solved by this talk, and if there are any questions, I would like to answer your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for the slides and the presentation on various topic, which could be age specific as well. When we were narrating it, maybe there are few slides which are meant for early childhood and the adolescent phase. Let the attendees post their questions on the Q&A section. So we have already received a couple of questions. Before we get into the question from the attendees, now, when we sleep, what exactly happens with our body? Or you said when we are like in the right kind of temperature, our body produces melatonin, and finally we feel to get sleep. But what happens? What exactly the brain and the body? What goes through that moment?
So usually the sleep is divided into two stages. One is a rapid eye movement sleep, and the other is a non-rapid eye movement sleep. So when the sleep starts, the child person is in a light sleep. So when you can awaken the person easily, this is a non-rapid eye movement sleep. But when the person goes into as the time passes, the person goes into a deep sleep, which is also called as rapid eye movement sleep. So this REM sleep or rapid eye movement sleep is what we say is the deep sleep, where it is difficult to awaken the person, but is autonomic system. So what is autonomic system? It is your defense system. Um, it is the system which is basically controlling everything in your body, your heart, your brain. So this autonomic system is extremely active during this rapid eye movement sleep. So it is but though you are sleeping in, you are having a very deep sleep and difficult to awaken, these defenses are quite active during this sleep. So you will see eye movements, you will see that person is sweating, or there are other palpitations or things, or respiratory irregularities. These kinds of things you will observe during the sleep, and this is usually a cycle of one NREM and one REM again, which is followed by similar cycles throughout the night till that person gets up from the sleep. So a cycle is usually around 50 to 60 minutes each cycle, during which the person has light sleep as well as deep sleep, and it keeps on repeating.
So very interesting, because this is such a phenomenon, probably very difficult for to understand, including me. Like when we sleep, we also turn side, and why it happens. There are many questions probably we have, but very less answer to that. Now, are you saying, when you say it's more like the central system is the brain, right? And
Yes.
when you sleep, uh, the neurons are still firing, and probably in a different note, which is programming. And as we are saying, the algorithm behind the entire human body and the action what we do when we are sleeping, or maybe when we are awake. Is it the sleep hour helps to program it in a right manner, or does it?
When we talk about children, it is this deep sleep wherein your growth hormones and your other hormones are secreted. So it is said that the more the child sleeps, the better it is, because the child grows during the sleep, and that is actually true. This is what our elders also tell us throughout.
Absolutely. So let me have the first question over here. Here it comes from a father of a 18 months girl, and she is sleepless throughout night and sleep in the morning. Okay. So me and my spouse health is getting disturbed because of this child sleeping pattern.
Okay, so here I would like to ask you a few questions. So, how is your child during the day? I mean, if we can talk with the person asking question face
Well,
to
this
face.
is from a anonymous, so
Okay.
I cannot pull.
So it is very important to find out what is disturbing her during the night. So is she sleeping during the day? That's why she is not sleeping during the night. She's not getting, I mean, there is no physical activity during the day. That's why she's not sleeping at night. Sometimes what kids do, they sleep very late in the night and they will get up also very late in the morning. So their sleep pattern is totally opposite to that of what an adult or a parent would have. So then
Right.
usually what you can do is, if there are no other medical reasons or other behavioral issues during the day, what you can do is you can try to change the sleep pattern. You can, for a week or 2 weeks, you can make the child sleep at what time you want him to sleep, say 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. This will create issues in the beginning. So for a week she will not cooperate, she will have issues. But if you remain consistent in that, then after a month or so you will notice that she will have regained that pattern of sleep which you want her to get. But if provided there are no other behavioral issues, as I said, children with behavioral issues like ADHD and autism will have sleep issues quite commonly.
Right. I think that's what even Dr. Swaranjali Mahajan is asking, how to improve a sound sleep in ASD children, because sleep pattern changes can be observed in ASD.
Okay. So what happens in ASD is that they might be overtly sensitive to some kind of external stimulation which they are getting in that room. So you have to find out what is disturbing them. It could be that bed sheet, it could be that pillow which they don't like, or it could be the temperature, it could be the maybe even color of the room, or things which is not comfortable for the child. That you have to find out first. Other things could be if they're sleeping during day for a long time, say for 2 hours or so, then their sleep requirement becomes less at night. So try to reduce the nap time during the day. Thirdly, at least 1 hour of free play in the park or outdoor. That is very important for children with ASD, so that this kind of physical activity will make them get exhausted, and they will have a natural sleep. Rather than giving medications or melatonin to them, they will have a natural sleep for the stipulated time.
Right, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am. And the next question again, as you rightly said, with same with the ADHD. So son is 5 year old. Dev Ghosh is writing 5 year and 5 month old and diagnosed with ADHD with mild autism and also have nephrotic syndrome. How much sleep time required for him?
So 5 years is, as we said earlier, around 9 to 13 hours sleep. But this is again individualized. So your child may feel fresh even after 10 hours of sleep, or he may require even more. That is, you have to find out. You are the doctor of your child. So what is adequate for your child? When he's fresh throughout the day, you can easily awaken him in the morning when his sleep is complete. That is the ideal duration of sleep for that particular child. And usually, when in children with ADHD, what happens if their sleep is not adequate? The symptoms of ADHD during day worsen. So they become much more restless and they become much more agitated during the day. So sometimes we might even have to use medication to reduce this kind of thing.
And so there we go to the next question. Here, my daughter is 5 year. She's still doing bed weight sometime and doesn't fall in the cases as mentioned by you. Um,
So I assume that she's neurotypical, but she's still bedwetting. So you try to reduce the fluid intake towards her in the last 2 hours before she goes to sleep. You make her to go to toilet before sleeping, as well as awaken her during the night once or twice as per requirement, so that she can go to toilet and empty her bladder. And if this doesn't help, you can use other behavioral strategies which we discussed earlier. You can use reward system, you can use alarm system, and if nothing works, then there are medications.
So, ma'am, is it the insufficient or the poor quality sleep? Are they a symptom of ADHD, or because of ADHD they get less sleep?
No. The uh, when the sleep quality is not proper or the sleep duration is not proper, the symptoms will get worsen. It is not that when the ADHD will cause the child not to go to sleep.
Well, the child is already in a hyper mode throughout the day and maybe late in the evening probably, and they go to bed at times pretty late. Don't they get tired to have a good sleep?
They sometimes even excessive tiredness can also cause them not. I mean, they can't sleep properly, quietly at the night. Also, this could also be, but this is not the. It is not yet proven, as I would say, that the sleep ADHD symptoms will worsen the sleep patterns.
Thanks, ma'am. So here is again an anonymous question. We are living in a joint family where my in-laws are living with the child, and the number of hours of sleep is getting affected since grandparents sleep for very less number of hours. Please guide. I think this is pretty a social question, very difficult to answer, but if you want to answer.
No, I would not take this question.
Okay, so the next question is, ma'am, my son is four plus and does bed waiting. I give him more treatment, but everything failed. I really am disappointed. What I should do?
So 4 years, usually by 4 years or so, they stop bedwetting. But what kind of treatment you have already taken, that I would like to know. Secondly, you can follow the strategies which we discussed earlier, and then if it is not working, then you can go ahead with the doctor and discuss why it is not working, why whatever the treatment was given, why it was not working, and what's wrong with the child. Is there any medical issue which is causing him to pass urine at night, things like that.
Okay.
Because it is very individualized. Till I see the child, I won't be able to give you a pinpoint answer to the question.
Ma'am, this is one more question, and my child moves up side during sleep, and that leads to fall from the bed. Tried many options by changing the direction, and but it's not helping.
So you use constraints or you sleep on the floor. This is, I mean, this is usual. The child moves a lot during sleep, so this is not something abnormal and not known. So here you have to just make sure that he's not injured or he doesn't fall down.
So one of the kid is also watching us and writing, "I'm a kid. I drink a lot of water, but some second later I feel again thirsty. So what should I do?"
So you should go to the doctor to find out why you are thirsty all the time. So is it something related to your endocrine system which is causing you to drink a lot of water? What is wrong with you?
And do the junk food affect the sleep? And so is the sugary food or this sweetener.
Yes, definitely. If the child eats a lot of calorie containing food towards his night or towards in the evening, late night, then it will cause their blood sugars to rise and the hyperactive behaviors would increase. So it is definitely linked.
Uh, okay, next question is again, is there a relationship between stress and sleep disturbance?
Yes, as we discussed earlier, stress in the child's life during daytime will affect his sleep quality. So this could manifest as insomnia, or he may be afraid to go to bed alone, or he might awaken frequently during the night, or things like that. He can have nightmares.
Right. Thanks, ma'am. And there is another question. My daughter is 2 year old and she wake up after 45, 60 minutes sleep and start crying. Then is continuing for a whole night, but in the early morning she used to sleep little bit soundly. She remain active whole day. Too much physical activity as discussed with a dietitian, no problem related to hunger. Kindly suggest is it normal and how to deal with it. She used to take only 1 hour sleep during daytime.
Okay. So, is your child's weight adequate for her age? I assume it is adequate for her age. So, usually you have to find out what is causing her awaken from the sleep. Is it the bed getting wet, or is it the wet diaper which is disturbing her, or is it something in her environment which is disturbing her? Things like that you have to find out. Or if you are saying that she's quite active during day and she's not sleeping too much during day, then if is it she going sleep easily after she gets awakened, or is it difficult to make her sleep again when she's getting up in the night? So things like this I would like to know more about your child, like how is her physical health, how is her weight, is there any respiratory issue, is there any digestion issue?
Okay. So this is more specific to
Yes, yes.
uh, overall performance. Uh, Ma'am, when we are saying there is a change in the sleep pattern at least, and the mood, anxiety, depression, and in an adolescent age, because by the time the person is a victim, when the child is infant stage, probably the child is not having the maybe immediate consequence, but when the child is already into an environment with the peer or maybe in a uh, social gathering or anywhere, so slowly the hormonal challenges changes are also happening, and how sleep is going to affect their anxiety, mood, or maybe depression.
So see, it is a vicious cycle. So if the child is not sleeping good at night, he will remain irritated during the day. He will have mood disturbances. He will be always irritable. So then that will affect his social relationships. So in a long term, this kind of behavior will make him stay away from his friends. So he will be alone, and then uh, this gradually affects develops inferiority quotient in them, and then they will go on to have other mood issues like depression or things like that. On the other hand, um, if there is no sound sleep, the child will have health issues also. As we discussed earlier, their growth will be subnormal as compared to their peers. Their height will be less. They will not gain weight in the initial years, and they will be cranky. So in a long term, this will affect their health, and it can cause cardiovascular issues, endocrine issues, and this has to be dealt with then.
So, ma'am, very alarming to learn ADD, maybe attention deficit, what we have been discussing now. You raised another point, which is constipation.
Yes.
Then sleep disorder is triggering all this, or maybe even short sleep, or maybe 1 hour sleep, and then again the child is waking up. I think that also happens with adult. It's not only with children. And when that happens, there is a definite reason to have a irregular food habit as well.
Yes.
Does it lead to obesity in the long run? Let's say as a child, we may not be noticing all this, but when it comes to when the child is already growing in the teens, because there are a lot of reason behind obesity, sometimes we do not know what is that. Too much of hungerness, or maybe are they consuming undesirable?
They are probably taking too calorie dense foods. So even if the quantity of the food is less, you might say कि अरे मैं तो एक बोल ही खाता हूँ, इतना सा ही खाता हूँ, मैं ज्यादा तो नहीं खाता हूँ. But the calorie intake should be monitored rather than the quantity of whole food what you are eating. And as we said, this some hormonal changes will occur, and in females, if there are issues with the sleep, it may cause excessive hunger, and the person will eat more. It will cause obesity. Obesity will lead to polycystic ovarian syndrome, and polycystic ovaries will lead to irregular cycles, menstrual cycles, and then infertility and things like. So it is kind of a cycle which once it begins, it goes on for a long time till you break the cycle.
So that triggered another question, and a very interesting about my brother of 16 years does not sleep throughout the night and watches the web series. His behavior is getting irritated. So this is a pretty serious acquisition here about the sibling, but I'm sure we experience in every day, in most of the houses.
What is irritating you? That he's not letting you watch, or he's watching it disturbing?
I believe the sleep pattern is getting disturbed since the topic.
For whom? For the brother or for yourself? For the person who's asking.
Probably, I don't know. Probably the person is writing with a concern now.
Okay.
I think
so you can just tell him that this is going to, affect his health in the long term. So in a few days, he may not feel anything, but even in conditions like chronic headaches, tension headaches, or migraine, these are the important factors, positive factors. So they will have irregular sleep times, and they will have irregular eating habits. So this could act as trigger for initiation of your headache in such diseases. So in short term, he may not have any symptoms, but long term, he will feel tired throughout the day. He will have mood issues. He will have other psychological issues, effects on him, and that will ultimately affect his academics and his career.
Though the question is very interesting, I should put this question forward. When we're talking about having a web series or using any of the gadget in your sleep time, you are compromising your sleep time, and you are sharing it with your gadget. When this happens, you are forcing yourself to see a tablet or something or a phone in a wrong posture, right? though you are on the bed, but still you are with the gadget.
Yes, definitely. And you hold it very close to your eyes, and
Yes, ma'am.
the light is quite bright, so that itself will prevent you from sleeping for another hour after you stop watching it. And then you will have a certain other spine issues, neck spine issues.
Absolutely. I was about to come to that. And beyond that, so your eyes, your brain, and your posture, spinal, everything is in an adverse way of.
Again, you will, I mean, the things what you are watching will again affect your, mentation, your mind. And then because of those things, whatever you are watching, you will not feel quiet, or you will not feel calm to go to sleep.
Absolutely, ma'am. So another question on the other side, do we really see dream?
Yes, dreams are true. And when you see the dreams in your light sleep, they are remembered. But when you see the dreams in your deep sleep, they are not remembered. But don't ask me what is the mechanism. I wouldn't be able to explain it to you.
Right, ma'am. But thank you, and quite informative your inputs. And there is a question: is meditation or yoga is going to be helpful for a sound sleep?
Yes, definitely. It helps you to relax your mind. Anything that is relaxing your mind, calm music or certain kind of smells which is relaxing you, you can go ahead with it.
So I think as a thumb rule, the thing which are doable at our end as a parent, no screen in the bedroom. I think that's a very difficult practice, but practice can make us perfect, and which we can do as a parent. We should take it first, and then the kid will follow, because the kids always watch you, and they most of the time they do by seeing you, not by what you are telling to them to do.
That is very important.
So attendees, we will be here for another 2 minutes. If you have any more questions, please do let us know. Otherwise, this session will be available on I'm the Best Mom website. You please do visit and register yourself. And as a regular practice, we have been extending the yoga for children and for prenatal yoga for the would-be moms. And then we have language program. The French language is also happening every week, twice. So a lot of things complimentary from I'm the Best Mom. Do subscribe, and we also have expert session every week, and we have recipes and so many. Please do share your thoughts as well, and do not miss out to see the beautiful art which have been contributed by many artists to spread the early detection and early intervention of autism spectrum. This is one thing as a social responsibility. We should be spreading it in our community. Let us reach out. Let us not hold to ourselves. Let us talk to our pediatrician, neonatologist. The moment you see the child is missing out the milestone, and I believe this will, Dr. Smita will also reinforce why it is so very important. Though we are talking about sleep, but ma'am, if you can just say a few words, because you are dedicatedly seeing a lot of children with the autism spectrum. What is your message to the community?
So keep your eyes open. So whatever thing about the child, whenever you feel something is amiss, something is different from other child, reach out for help. Don't assume that there is a saying by our elders, अरे नहीं लड़का तो लेट बोलता है, लड़कियां जल्दी बोलती है. Things like that will help you to go to the doctor early. So you have to keep your eyes open and find out what is wrong with the child. Is there anything wrong? Why is he behaving like that? And if you can't find the answer, go to some expert who knows the answer and who can help you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you for giving me a platform to reach out to the parents. I am the best mom.
So it's a pleasure to have you, ma'am, and we will be looking forward your future association through webinar or through your write-up. We would like to share. We have many people associated. They are attending it, and the attendees. Thank you so much for attending this session, and looking forward to see you again and again. And we will bring a lot of input, lot of expert session. But important is how much we are able to use it in our day-to-day life. I know many things are not easy to practice immediately, but we can extend one effort, which will make us some difference in our practice of life. Thank you, ma'am, once again for your valuable time. We had a great time having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, attendees.